Okay. So Chaim Leib Gross said that he got up to somewhere on Sadi Bays. There are a few spots today where they refer back to very complicated cases in the past, and we're not going to be able to harbor on the very complicated cases in the past. This Gemara over here in the beginning, and then one Gemara in the middle of Sadi Vav. So we're going to read it, but we're not necessarily be able to go through every detail of the case. Amar Rabbi Yehuda, Amar Shmuel. Halacha Rabbi Yossi. The halacha is like Rabbi Yossi, and again, Rabbi Yossi is the one who said in the Mishnah that Kol sheposel al yedei acherim posel al yedei atzmo v'chein she'ein posel al yedei acherim ein posel al yedei atzmo. So halacha like Rabbi Yossi. Maskil Rabbi Yossi. For me, Amar Shmuel Hachi, did he really say this? For Idmar, we have a separate case, and again, part of this discussion, we have a separate machlokas which we'll delve into. Yevama, Rav Amar Aryai he ke'eshes ish. Yevama is like an Eshes Ish. Shmuel Amar Ena Keshes Ish. She's not like an Eshes Ish. For Amar Afuna, what's the case? Kigon Shekidesh Achives Isha V'Halach Lo Medina Siyam. One man does Kiddushin with a woman, and then he goes to Medina Siyam V'Shama Shemei Sachiv, and then his brother heard that he died. V'Amad V'Nasas Ishta. So again, you have one man who does Kiddushin, and then supposedly he dies, and the brother does Yibum, quote unquote, with the wife who had done Kiddushin with her brother, and he actually marries him. Now, if he comes back, so Rav says she's like an Eshes Ish, and now she's Aser Liyav, Ushmal Amar Ena Keshes Ish V'Shar Yalei, and she says he's not like an Eshes Ish. Again, if it's an Eshes Ish, so then it's Eshes Ish Zinsa, even bit Shogeng, and it's going to be Aser Shmuel Amar Ena Keshes Ish V'Shar Yalei. It's not like an Eshes Ish, and you can actually go back to the original husband. Fine. And this is the whole case that we discussed with the Ashes and the Giso, etc., and the same Svar about whether people are going to make the same assumption when they do Kiddushin as they will when they do Nisuin. Weiter. How do you know this all has to do with Rabbi Yitzchak Nafka, which again you discussed yesterday with a nice chart? Dilma ad Rabbi Ami Kamar, V'inami ad Rabbi Yitzchak Nafka, and even it's Rabbi Yitzchak Nafka, Mimai de Aposel, V'dilma Eino Posel. What does that been dealing with Aposel? Could even be with the Eino Posel. Inami Mai de Isel with Rafuna, Dilma less of Rafuna Klal, maybe doesn't hold the Rafuna, and therefore what over the Rav Hamnuna come if again? They're arguing within Rav Hamnuna. Dam Rav Hamnuna, maybe Rav and Shmuel. Rav who says that she's like an Eshes Ish, and Shmuel said that she's not like an Eshes Ish. Maybe they're arguing within Rav Hamnuna. What's the case of Rav Hamnuna? Shomeres Yavam Shezinsa Asur Liyavma. Not a case where he goes to Medina Sayyam and they're coming and Kedushin and everything. It's a regular woman who is Zakuk Liyavam, and now she's Zinsa. So the question is, Rav Amar Aryai Keshes Ish Mifla Biznus. We count this Shomeres Yavam as an Eshes Ish, and therefore, just like an Eshes Ish is Zinsa, she's going to be Asur Laboel Labal. So too, this person is waiting for Yibum, who's Zinsa, this girl, she's going to be Asur Liyavam. And Rav Amar Aryai Keshes Ish Mifla Biznus. Ushmuel Amar Eina Keshes Ish V'lo Mifla Biznus. And Shmuel, who says Eina Keshes Ish, he means that in that case she's not like treated like an Eshes Ish, and therefore she is not puzzled with this nus. V'inami, or the argument between Rav and Shmuel is B'Kiddushin Tosim B'Yivama Kamifli, whether Kiddushin is actually Tofes by Yevamos or not. The Rav Amar Aryai Keshes Ish V'lo Tofsi B'Kiddushin. She's like an Eshes Ish, and the Kiddushin is not, Tofes. Again, in the case where they go to Medina Sayyam and she gets married in the interim. Ushmuel Amar Eina Keshes Ish V'Tofsi B'Kiddushin. Those are the three possibilities. We already had that case. We had a whole case in the Mishnah with whether it's Kiddushin Tofsin or not, but one of them is learned as an inference from the other. Again, we did that a little bit quickly, but we're right there on to the next Mishnah. Amrula Mesa Ishtacha. This is a fun case. If you have the art scroll, so it's definitely helpful to have this chart on the bottom of the art scroll, the 5 half-sisters. And if you don't have the art scroll, then you watch the video later and you'll see it in the video. Amrulo, they said to him, Mesa Ishtacha. Okay, hopefully this doesn't happen at home. They said to him, your wife died. And then what happened? Then they said to him, so he married his wife's sister, paternal sister, who he's allowed to marry after she dies. Then they say, number 2 died. Okay. V'nasa achosa me'ima. Then Mesa number 3 died. V'nasa achosa me'avia. Then number 4 died. Mesa v'nasa achosa me'ima. V'nimsu kulan kayamos.
plague.
Then, yeah, it seems like there's some plague. I don't know why any lady would want to marry this guy, and I don't know why this guy would want to keep getting married. But anyway, v'nimsu kulan kayamos. Now they're all alive. Mutter barishono v'shlishis v'chamishis u'postor tzarosehen v'aser b'shnio v'reviyah v'ein bias achzman potras surasa. So what does this mean? Again, this guy is married to a woman. This woman has a paternal sister. And again, the only reason we're making paternal and maternal sisters is because this person has a paternal sister. So while A is alive, so he can't marry B, because B is his paternal sister of his wife. B and C are maternal sisters, which means that C and A are not related, because A is paternal sisters with B, B is maternal sisters with C. Therefore, A and C are not married. C and D are paternal sisters. A and C are definitely not married, but they're not related either. C and D, so C is paternal sisters with D, which means that B and D are not related. So A and C are not related, and B and D are not related. D is maternal sisters with E, so C and E is not related, because if C is a paternal sister with D, and D is a maternal sister with E, so D is sisters with C and E, but E and C are not related at all. So yeah, basically, A, C, and E have nothing to do with each other, and B and D have nothing to do with each other. So he marries A, he's usher to B. He marries A, he's still mutter to C. He marries C, he's usher to D. He marries C, he's usher to D, but he's still mutter to E. So what happened here? He has a woman who's A. He's usher to B, the paternal sister. He hears that A goes Menachem and A dies. So now he's usher to B, he marries B. When A comes back, his marriage to B never took place. So when he heard that B died and he married C, he was really married to A. He was married to A, but the marriage to C went through, because even when A comes back, she wasn't ever related to C. So now he's married to C. Now after he's married to C, he marries D. When C comes back, now D is out of the picture too, because D never was a good marriage, because he was married to C. When he married E, so even though E is related to D, since D was never a good marriage, because he was really related to C, so now he's married to A, C, and E. So again, when all of them come back, he's married to A, C, and E. And therefore, that's what the Gemara says. Mutter barishona, bashlishis, uvachamishis. He's mutter to go back to A, C, and E. Upotro sarosein. And if he does, now if this guy dies, finally it hits him, all his wives. Now this guy finally gets what's waiting for him. Now he dies. Now the Yavam, now his brothers can do Yibum with who? A, C, or E. And put to the other ones, because again, there's no connection to B or D. He never married B and D. So A, C, and E, he's married to. If he dies now, then they do Chalitz or Yibum with A, C, or E. However, let's say, and the Gemara is going to explain what this means is, let's say they all come back except for A. A didn't come back. So now what happened? A was really dead. If A was really dead, then it's the exact opposite. Right. Then when you married B, in fact, B was a good marriage. Then C wasn't a good marriage. If C wasn't a good marriage, then D was a good marriage. If D was a good marriage, then E wasn't a good marriage. So if none of them, if they all come back, then you're married to A, C, and E. If A doesn't come back, that means that your marriage to B was good, and now you're married to B and D. That's what it means. Doesn't mean after A died. That means that really A had died, and she's the only one that doesn't come back. Then mutter b'shnia over revius uposho tsarosein. And now if he dies, they need to do b'ibum or chalitza with B or D. Ve'aser b'shlishis of achamishes. It doesn't say Rishon because Rishon's dead. And now he's aser with the third or the fifth, because at the end of the day he married 2 and 4. Vein bias achas man potera saras. And if he dies and they do yibum with 3 or 5, so that's nothing, because again he's only married to 2 and 4.
That's logical from the first case. Like, why do you need it?
Right, so that's interesting. The Gemara doesn't ask that. The Gemara is just adding that if one dies, because you might get confused, like we're getting confused. So, but it's a good point. It's pretty logical from the first case. Yeah, but it wants to point. Sequence. Well, you might not have thought about the fact that if one died. It's adding that one actually, that one of them died. It doesn't go through all of them. It doesn't say if B died, if C died, if D died. It just says if all of them come back. Then it says if one of them dies.
But the logic is
the same. Right. Okay. Excellent question. Okay. That's it. Okay. That was easy. Fine. Bentesha shanim v'yom echad. Everything's easier after the fact. Bentesha shanim v'yom echad. Now you have a case of a 9-year-old boy, and it uses 9 years old and 1 day. The reason he uses 9 years old is because the 9-year-old bia, the relations that he has, is considered to be relations, but he still can't get married, as we'll see, because he's not a gadol. So now let's say there is a brother who dies, and now he leaves a bunch of brothers and a wife and no kids. So now somebody's got to do yibum chalitza. So the question is, who's doing the yibum and chalitza? Well, if any of the brothers do yibum, that means all the other brothers are done. If one of the brothers does chalitza, all the other brothers are done. What happens if this 9-year-old boy does yibum? So the rabbis tell us that it's not a real yibum, because he's only 9 years old. If he has bia with her even, and we'll see there's different types of things he could do. He could either do bia, or he could do ma'amar, which is like a rabbinic kedushin, because he's 9 years old, or he can go ahead and give a get, chalitza, etc. So the question is, if this 9-year-old does something to this girl, what exactly is the status of the girl? And what happens if one of the other brothers goes ahead and does something afterwards? That means, is he really married to her, and therefore anything that they do is worthless, and therefore he stays married to her, even though he can't really marry anybody because he's only 9? Or is it that after they do something, so now they ruin whatever he did? And the opposite as well. Let's say one of the big boy brothers does something with her, does yibum, so now they're married. Let's say he does something afterwards. So if one of the big boy brothers does something like yibum, and then one of the other brothers does yibum, one of the big boy brothers, so then they ruin it. Because again, she's married, and now she's an Ashes Ish, and now she ruins it, and now she's usher to the guy that she originally did it with. Let's say one of the big brothers does something, and then the 9-year-old does something and has bia. So the question is, when the 9-year-old has bia, does he ruin it for the brother who already married her kehalacha? That's what we're going to delve through over here. Amrulo, we did that already. Fine. Bentesha shanim v'yom echad, the 9-year-old, who posel al yedei achin v'ya achin posel al yado. The actions of the 9-year-old can go ahead and disqualify the Yevama to the remaining brothers. It means once this 9-year-old, just for argument's sake, has bia with this woman, so now none of the other brothers can be with her because she's already been married to one of the brothers. Even though, again, it's not a full marriage because he's only 9 years old. And the actions of the other brothers, if one of the older brothers, can disqualify the rest of the brothers, including this 9-year-old, from marrying this girl. Elahu posel tchila via achin posel tchila v'saf. However, since he's only 9 years old, he is not as strict as they are. That means that if he has bia with her first, before any of the other brothers, then he ruins and disqualifies her to the rest of the brothers. But if one of the brothers has bia with her, and then he has bia with her afterwards, since he's only 9 years old, he doesn't have that much power to ruin a pre-existing marriage. He could ruin the fact that they can no longer take the Yevama if he has relations with her right off the bat, the first one. But if one of them already had relations with her and took her as a Yavam, so then he can't ruin it because he's only 9 years old. But they can go ahead and ruin it the other way. That means that if he goes and has bia with her, so even though she's married to him in a rabbinic level because they had bia, but he's not old enough, if one of the other brothers goes ahead and has bia, even though if he would do the same thing to them, it wouldn't accomplish anything. If one of the brothers goes after him, since he's only 9 years old, if they have bia or give a get or chalitza or something with this girl, it ruins it, and now she's usher to the 9-year-old that she married as well, whether they do it before the fact, which is obvious, or even after he already did something, the 9-year-old, it's going to ruin it as well.
But the 9-year-old, I mean, why that case? You're really looking at does a woman who has relations with another man or a minor, is her marriage finished? I mean, it's nothing to do with Yibam. I mean, it's another issue about does a minor ruin a marriage? Well,
over here we're going to see it's a little different because it's also going to give an option of chalitza and get and mamar, which is rabbinic marriage. We'll see. Ketzad. Pentesha shanim v'yom echad shabal yivamta. What's the case? As we explained, a 9-year-old has bia with the yivama. Pasal al yidei achin. Now that woman can no longer marry any of the other brothers. Again, if nobody would have done anything, so then obviously any of the brothers can marry her. But we're saying that even though a 9-year-old's bia is not a real bia, it's enough of a bia to now take her and make her usher to the rest of the brothers. But like we said, if the brothers come and do something after the 9-year-old did something, whether they actually had relations with her, or they did mamar, they married her rabbinically, or they gave her a get, or they did chalitza, so now the 9-year-old that had quote-unquote done something beforehand is now usher to his rabbinic wife as well, the yavam. Going back to the first case in the Mishnah where we said, Mesa Ishcha, Mesa Ishcha, Mesa Ishcha. Are they not after the Misa of the Rishon? Aren't they all after we said that the first woman died? That was the case. Say no. Amar Sheshas La'achar Mitas Rishona Vadai. The last case that we brought was after the woman actually died. And remember, we said the case where one actually died, so then she's married to 2 and 4. He's married to 2 and 4. Ben Teisha Shanim. Ben Teisha Shanim v'yomecha tchila pasul b'sof l'pasul. So we said, if the 9-year-old goes ahead and has bia with her, so now he asks her to all of the other brothers. B'sof l'pasul. But if one of the other brothers has bia with her, and now the 9-year-old comes and has bia with her, he doesn't accomplish anything, and she's still mutter to the one that she had bia with. V'atani Rav Zvid bar Rav Oshia. We see that Rav Zvid says Rav Oshia ose mamar b'yevamto. If somebody does mamar with the yevama v'achach ba'ach if ben tashan v'yomechad ala pasla, what do you see from here? That the 9-year-old has the ability to ruin the marriage. Here it's the mamar, but he has the ability seemingly to ruin even a bia, but definitely a mamar that one of the older brothers did with this woman, even after they did it. And we just said that the 9-year-old can't do anything after one of the other brothers did something. Amri, we say bia pasla filu besof. What we meant is that the bia of a 9-year-old can ruin even after the fact. Mamar tchila pasul b'sof lo pasul, but only the mamar of a 9-year-old, this rabbinic marriage of the 9-year-old, that he can only ruin the other brothers beforehand if he gets to her first. But once they get to her, one of them gets to her, if he does mamar with her now, it doesn't accomplish anything. Even though if one of the others would do, even if though one of the other brothers would do mamar to her after the 9-year-old has bia with her, that would still ruin it. Ubia afilu b'sof pasul. Is it true that the 9-year-old who has bia, again, just bia, after one of the other brothers married her, did yibum with her, it would be a problem? V'akatani, our Mishnah says, Elashu posel tchila v'hein tchila v'sof. He's only posel in the beginning, but not at the end, and they're posel both in the beginning of the end. And what's the example it gives? Ketza ben teisha shanav yonecha shabal yivamto. It gives the example of having bia. So the Gemara says, it pulls out the red card, right? The red flag that they could always pull out of their pocket. Chisure mechzera v'hachi gitani. No. You don't understand. That's not what the Brisa meant. The Brisa said or meant as follows: Ben teisha shanav yomechad hu bosel techila ve'im bosel techila betzof. He can only ruin in the beginning, but not after the fact. B'medvar mur b'mamar. Like we're saying, that's only by mamar. It means once one of the other brothers does something with her, so now the other brother, the 9-year-old, cannot ruin it with mamar. He can only ruin it with mamar if he does mamar in the beginning first. He's the first one to get to her, then none of the other brothers can marry her. But even the 9-year-old, and of course the other brothers, if he has bia with this girl, even though it's not a full-fledged bia, if he has bia with this girl after she did yibum with one of the older brothers, so then that's going to ruin and disqualify her to that brother that she had done yibum with. Ketzad ben teisha shanav yomechad abal yivamto pasal al yedei achen. Period. That if the ben teisha shanav yomechad hu bal yivamto, she's pasal them even if the ben teisha shanim came after she had already done yibum with one of the other brothers. So it comes out l'maisa in the Mishnah. Well, probably, hopefully never Lamaisa. But it comes out Lamaisa in the Mishnah that if the Ben Teshanim does Bia before or after one of the other brothers, then she's disqualified. Just like if one of the other brothers does Bia before or after any of the other brothers, or the 9-year-old, then the one that she did Bia with originally is now disqualified from her because the other brother, including the 9-year-old, ruined it. However, if the 9-year-old does Bia with her and then one of the other brothers does Mama with her, and now they ruin it for that 9-year-old. However, if one of the other brothers does Bia with her and marries her, and now the 9-year-old does mamar, the mamar of the 9-year-old is not going to accomplish anything, and she will be able to stay with the yavam that she had bia with.
How does a mamar, which is mitzvah not get a mitzvah?
Because there is no, which one is deraisa? His mamar is not, no, but his mamar is not knocking it out.
No, I'm saying the brother's mamar.
But their mamar is knocking out his bia, but his bia is not deraisa. His bia is only midrabanan because he's a katan.
He's a katan.
The question is, you're assuming now, you're making an assumption. Again, we're not delving very, very deep and getting into the exact intricate details of mamar and exactly how it works in every case, but you're making an assumption for sure that mamar works when? That his mamar can ruin the other brothers if he does mamar first. We said his mamar can't ruin something that already happened with one of the other brothers, but if he does mamar first, so then it's going to ruin the other brothers. Is that true? Is it true that even his mamar maybe won't ruin the other brothers at all? Why? What do we see over here? Can he really ruin mamar, the 9-year-old, for the other brothers? Vatanya ben teishana v'yom hu posel b'davar echad v'achin posel ha'yidado bi'arba devarim. We see him at first a brisa that he can only ruin the other brothers b'bia. Yes, einachanami, like we said, the bia will ruin whether he's the first one to have bia with her, whether he has bia after one of the other brothers already did yibum with her. But at the end of the day, we see that only bia has the ability to ruin anything. He can ruin them with bia, and they can ruin him even if they come after him, whether with bia, with mamar, with get, or with chalitza. So the Gemara says bia de pasla bein betchila bein beso psikale. No, the reason that it mentions that he can ruin them only with bia is because bia he can ruin them, as we said, before or after they do it. Mamar de bechila pasal. It's true that mamar, his mamar in the beginning can pasal and ruin the rest of them. Besof lo pasal, but at the end we said it doesn't work. Lo psikale, so it doesn't mention it because not that his mamar in the beginning doesn't mention it like you want to prove, not that his mamar in the beginning doesn't ruin it, but his mamar in the beginning only works in the beginning, not at the end. And this brisa was only mentioning things that work between the beginning and the end, which is bia for him, and any of the other things, the 4 things for any of the other brothers, which we said work whether before or after. Itmar nami, we have a brisa that proves that mamar will work for the 9-year-old. Amar Yehuda Amar Shmuel yesh lo get. Not only does he have mamar, he has a get, which means that a 9-year-old, if he goes ahead and just like if the 9-year-old marries this girl, does bia with this woman, and now one of the other brothers gives her a get, or does chalitza, or does mamar, and for sure does bia, it ruins it. So too we're saying that even though the mamar of this 9-year-old after one of the brothers did yibum with her, did bia with her, the mamar will not ruin it. However, we'll see over here that the mamar beforehand will work, and a get beforehand will work as well. If the 9-year-old, not only does he do mamar before, if he does a get before, if he gives her a get, it's the equivalent of chalitza, and now she's usher to all of the other brothers. So Amar Yehuda Amar Shmuel yesh lo get. So the ben test can actually give a get and ruin all the other brothers. The proof that we need, yesh lo mamar, he can do mamar and ruin the other brothers from her. Tani nami hachi yesh lo get v'yesh lo mamar divrei Rabbi Meir. And now the question is, v'sav Rabbi Meir yesh lo get. So now we've proven that she can do mamar. Is it really true that the 9-year-old can give a get, and if she gives a get before any of the other brothers get to her, again, if he gives a get after any of the other brothers get to her, seemingly it would be the same as if he does mamar after any of the other brothers get to her, or does chalitza after any of the other brothers get to her, and it won't work. And only his bia, as we said, after one of the other brothers get to her will work. The question is it really true that his get will ruin the other brothers even before any of the other brothers get to her? Vatanya asu bias bentesha kimamar begadol. But we know that we do the bia of a bentesha like mamar of a gadol. Rabbi Meir Omer asu chalitza bentesha gebegadol. So I see in the Tanakama that the bia of a bentesha is like a mamar of a gadol, and therefore we said the bia of a bentesha works before or after, just like the mamar of the gadol of the other ones works before or after. But again, Rabbi Meir seems to imply that if this 9-year-old gives a get beforehand, for sure afterwards it wouldn't work. But if he gives a get beforehand, then it would work just like mamar beforehand would work. We seem to imply that Rabbi Meir would not hold that the get beforehand would work. Why? Because they say asu chalitzas bentesha can get begadol, because they say that when he does chalitza beforehand, that's like the gadol giving a get beforehand, which works. If you held that If you held that a get beforehand would work, so then you should have said what? You should have said that when a tesha does a chalitza, it's as if he did a get. Clearly, when you say that when he does a chalitza as if the older one, the gadol, did a get, seems to imply that mamar works beforehand, chalitza works beforehand, of course bia works beforehand, but for whatever reason a get would not work beforehand. Says the Gemara, Vim Isa lisne kegito Amarfuna Breder Yeshua Isle Vizutar. He has a get, and he says that the get for the 9-year-old would also work, but it doesn't mention a get here to teach you a separate lesson. That the get that a 9-year-old gives in general is not as strong as a get that a gadol gives. Again, in our case, it'll work. The get of the 9-year-old will work, just like the chalitza of a 9-year-old will work. It comes out just like the mamar of a 9-year-old will work, just like the bia of a 9-year-old will work before the fact. If he's the first one to get to her, he ruins all the other brothers. If one of them gets to her, then the only way he can ruin that guy is if he does bia with the girl afterwards. If he does mamar, get, or chalitz afterwards, it's nothing. Again, as opposed to the other brothers, that even if the 9-year-old brother gets to them first and does bia, if the other brothers do anything after the fact, then it's going to work. So why doesn't it mention get mefurash here? Why doesn't Rabbi Meir mention get if get actually works beforehand for the 9-year-old to ruin it? To teach us a separate lesson that the get of a 9-year-old is actually going to be weaker than a regular get. How's the get of a 9-year-old weaker than a regular get? So let's see in the Gemara. The Rabbi Gamliel de Amar ein get achar get. So there's two possibilities we say. Either ein get achar get or yesh get achar get. And again, just going back to a regular case. Forget about this case for a second of a 9-year-old. If you say yesh get achar get, that means that if somebody gives a get when it's not necessary. So let's just use, I'm assuming, he doesn't say Rashi, but let's just assume this case. You have a get, if a random woman, if there's a random guy off the street, like we said, who gives a get to a woman, let's just give, I'm just oversimplifying it, it doesn't do anything. But it sounds like if you hold yesh get achar get, then one might say that that get will now passel him to her relatives. Again, I don't know if that's true in that case, but I'm just oversimplifying the case. So now you say yesh get achar get. If you say that yesh get achar get, then what are you going to say in this case? If you hold that somebody gives a get to a woman, in the case of Yibum, let's say, and one of the brothers gives a get to the Yavam, now he's usher to all of her relatives, but the ones who didn't give a get to the Yavam are mutter to her relatives. They can't marry her, but they can marry her relatives. What happens if one of the other brothers also gives a get? So it's not going to accomplish anything, because again, she's already usher to all of the brothers. But if you say yesh get achar get, then this second brother who gave her a get, even though it doesn't really accomplish anything in the real world, l'maiseh, it accomplishes the fact that now that he gives her a get, he's going to be usher to her relatives as well. That's yesh get achar get. But if you say ein get achar get, then once the get doesn't accomplish anything, then just like if you go over to some random person in the street and you give them a get, it doesn't accomplish anything. So seemingly, ein get achar get would say that if one of the brothers gives this Yevama a get, so now she's basically pater. Again, discussion in the Masechta whether she needs to do chalitza or not, still fine. But basically, she's now usher to all of the brothers. If the second brother comes ahead, or all the brothers come and give her a get as well, if you say ein get achar get, then it's as if they did nothing and they're still mutter to her relatives. So now let's see. So how is the get of a katan going to be less than the get of a gadol? Well, if you say ein get achar get, that if you give a get after the get was already given and it doesn't accomplish anything and it doesn't make you usher to the relatives, that's begadol achar gadol v'katan achar katan. That's if one gadol gives a get and then another gadol gives a get, it's worthless. If a katan gives a get and another katan gives a get, it's worthless. However, gadol achar katan mahani. The katan's get is weak in the sense that if the katan in this case gives her a get in order to passel her to all of the other brothers, but now one of the other brothers comes ahead and gives a get to her now, since the first get was a get from the katan, even though if it was a get from one of the other gadol brothers, it would accomplish nothing, and this second brother who gave the get would be able to marry her relatives. The weakness of a katan's get is that if the katan is the one who gives a get, and now one of the older brothers gives a get, so the older brother is going to be usher to her relatives as well.
The whole point of get is creases, means it cuts off and it's done. So
But do they still have to do chalitza?
It's done, or either it's done or it's not done.
Okay.
It is done in this case.
Right, but we're saying ein get achar get, it's done, ein get achar get in general, but this get that the katan gave is not a regular get, it's a weak get, so even though it does decrease us, it's strong enough to cut off the relationship that she has with these brothers, it's still not strong enough to keep the second get from having any impact, and when the second get comes, it's going to passel that second get brother, the one who's in gadol, to this woman. And if you say, l'rabbanan damar yesh get achar get, so if you say that in general, anytime you give one get after another get, so the second brother who gives a get is going to be passel to all of her relatives as well. So where do you see that a katan's get is weaker? So yesh get achar get, hani mili begadol achar gadol v'katan achar katan. If the gadol gives a get and now one of the other gadols give a get, so we're going to say yesh get achar get, and the second gadol is going to be us to their relatives. If one katan gives a get and then the second katan gives a get, and you say yesh get achar get, so then the second katan is going to be us to all of her relatives. Where do you see that the katan's get is going to be weaker? Because even though in general, when the second one gives a get, it makes him usher to all of her krovim, if the first one to give a get was a gadol, and now the 9-year-old gives a get, so since the 9-year-old is the second get, even though in general the second get would make her usher to the krovim, since it's coming from the 9-year-old, in this case the 9-year-old's get is weaker, and it will not make him usher to all of her krovim. Oh, okay. Take a deep breath. Mishnah. We have 15 more minutes. We can do this. Ben tesh shanim v'yom echad shebal yivamto v'yakach ba'aleh achiv. Shehu ben tesh shanim v'yom echad posel al yado. You thought that was a crazy case. Think about this case. Now you have a case where there's a 9-year-old who comes on the Yevama. Again, forget about anybody else ruining it. Well, it happens to be that the 9-year-old has a twin brother. And after he comes on to this woman, the 9-year-old's brother came on to the woman. So again, if a gadol came on, obviously it ruins. The question is, what's the status of this second 9-year-old's bia? Posel al yado. So the second 9-year-old's bia is going to ruin the first one's bia as well, even though, again, you would have thought that maybe only if the second one was a gadol would it ruin it. Why does it ruin it? So we're just going to say the Gemara outside now. So the Gemara is going to tell us that what? So the Gemara is going to tell us that yesh mamar achar mamar. There's a concept about whether ma'amar works. Again, the bia of a katan is considered to be a rabbinic marriage, ma'amar. So now this first one has ma'amar with this girl. The second one has ma'amar as well, because the second 9-year-old has bia as well. So if you hold yesh ma'amar achar ma'amar, that the second ma'amar takes effect after you already did one ma'amar. So what does that mean? Lamaisa now, the second one did ma'amar with her as well, but Lamaisa she can't be married to both of them. So now she needs a get from the second one, because the second one did something that he shouldn't have done, but it was chal. Once he gets a get from the second one, what happens? Once she gets a get from the second one, even though she theoretically is still married to the first one, because it was only ma'amar with the second one, however, once she gets a get from the second one, then the pasuk, or the learning that we have, kevan shelo bana shuv lo yivneh, once one of them gives her a get, then she can't marry any of them. Even though she had done mamar with the first one, once she needs to get a get from the second one, because yesh mamar achar mamar, so now she can't stay with the first one either. Kevan shelo bana shuv lo yivneh. Rabbi Shimon omer lo posel. No, if the second one, the 9-year-old has bia, it doesn't ruin the first one. Why? Because ein mamar achar mamar. When she has mamar, which again is not a real bia, with the second one, it doesn't accomplish anything. He's not married to the second one. Therefore, she doesn't need a get from the second one, and therefore her mamar with the first one remains, and she could stay with the first one. Similar case, but not with his brother. He comes and he has bia with his Yevama. He's only 9, so it's mamar. Then he does mamar with one of the other co-wives. So what's the story? He ruined himself. Because again, now, yesh mamar achar mamar, he needs to give a get to the tzarasa. Kevan shelo bana shuv lo yivneh. Rabbi Shimon omer lo posel. Rabbi Shimon says you're not posel, because again, just like the ein mamar achar mamar in the first case, the mamar you do with the second one, the tzara is not going to be chal. Therefore, you don't have to give her a get, and therefore you can stay married to the first one. He ruined himself. Tanya, Rabbi Shimon lechachamim. He's just going to say what I just said outside. Im bia rishona bia bia shniya bia. Make up your mind. If the first one's a bia, then the second one is not a bia because ein mamar achar mamar, and therefore he could stay married to the first one. V'im bia rishona a bia, bia shniya nami ein a bia. And if the first one's not a bia, then the second one's not a bia, because neither one is mamar. Mas nisan. So that's what we basically said, and just explaining it again the way we explained it outside. The Tanakama holds yesh mamar achar mamar. The Rabbi Shimon holds ein mamar achar mamar, and therefore he holds yesh mamar achar mamar. You need to get from the second one, and therefore you have to divorce the first one. You have to leave the first one. Rabbi Shimon who says that ein mamar achar mamar, and therefore you never did anything with the second one. You can stay with the first one. Mas nisan deloke ben azai. Our mission is not like ben azai. Tanya ben azai omer yesh mamar achar mamar b'shnei yevamim v'yevama achas ve'ein mamar achar mamar b'shnei yevamas v'yevam echad. It's not like ben azai, because Ben Azai says that there's only mamar achar mamar when you have 2 Yevamim and 1 girl, but not when you have 2 girls and 1 man. Well, you see in our Mishnah that you have both cases, and we say that the Tanakam holds yesh mamar achar mamar in both, and Rabbi Shimon holds ein mamar achar mamar in both. Right? In the first case, where you have 2 brothers, that's the case of 2 Yevamim v'Yevama achas. So Ben Azai would say yesh mamar achar mamar like the Tanakama, but he says ein mamar achar mamar when you have 2 women and 1 man. Where's that? In the second case, where he marries the woman, where he has bia with the woman, and then the tzara. So it doesn't work, because then Ben Azai is holding like Rabbi Shimon. He's holding like the Tanakama in the Reish, and Rabbi Shimon in the Seifa, and he can't do that. He needs to make up his mind. Fine. If you didn't follow that one, then we can try to not follow the next one. If you're 9 years old, shebal yivamto v'meis. So what happens over here? You have a 9-year-old who goes ahead and has bia with the Yevama, but then he dies. So what was the status of his bia with the Yevama? It was mamar. Choletzes v'lo misyabemes. So they do chalitza from the brother. We'll have to see why. Why do they only do chalitza? Because, as the Gemara is going to explain, when he only did, since he's only a 9-year-old, he did mamar. So what's the story now? So now she, when he dies, she has a zika to 2 people. She still has the original zika to the first husband, right? That husband died, and now this 9-year-old did mamar with her, and now when the 9-year-old dies, so now she has a zika to the first husband because the mamar of the 9-year-old doesn't get ruined. It doesn't basically take effect yet fully, and therefore there's still a zika to the first husband. Now when the 9-year-old dies, now there's a separate zika, even though it's a weak zika, a mamar zika to the second husband, the 9-year-old, and therefore we know the halach is misha yesh aleh zikas yavam echad v'lo she'aleh zikas shnei yavamin, that a person is only allowed to do, so the third brother now could only do yibum if she only has 1 zika, but a woman who has 2 zikas, so you can't do yibum with, and you need to do chalitza with. So again, it's a case where one brother died, who she was married to, the 9-year-old does ma'amar, and now he dies. So the third brother can't do yibum with her, because again, she has a zika to the first husband, because the second husband, the ma'amar of the 9-year-old, is not a full-fledged getting rid of her zika, her connection to the first husband. Therefore, she has zika with the first husband, which is a very strong zika, a regular doraisa zika, and then she has ma'amar with the second husband, so it's a zika with the second husband too, and therefore the third husband needs to do chalitza. Nasa isha v'meis hareis of 2. If a 9-year-old marries a woman and dies, so then there's nothing. There's no chalitza, there's no yibum, because the 9-year-old's marriage is nothing. Bentesha shanim v'yomechad, at least on a doraisa level. Bentesha shanim v'yomechad shabal yevemto. So what happened in this case? A 9-year-old is with his yevama. Umishehigdil nasa isha acheres. Then when he gets older, he marries another woman regularly, and now he dies. So what happens? Im lo yadas harishona misha higdil. If he was never with the first one since he got older, that means he did maimar with her when he was younger, because he had bia with her when he was 9. Harishona chalatzes v'lo misyabemes. So now they need to do chalitza with the first one. Why? Because again, the first one has a zika to the original husband and to the 9-year-old. But the second one that he married when he was older is a regular woman, and you can do chalitza ibam. The Gemara is going to ask what? That once you do chalitza with the one that you were married when you were 9, so it should be pater the wife that you married even when you were older.
Except it's not an equal playing field.
It's not an equal playing field, so the Gemara is going to say, again, we're not going to get into that Gemara because it's based on the Gemara earlier on Lamed Aleph Amud Beis, but that's going to be the Gemara's question. The Gemara is going to say no. Rabbi Shimon Omer miyavim le'ezeh sheyirtza v'choletz l'shniya. Interesting. Rabbi Shimon goes so far as to say that you could do yibum with either one. Rabbi Shimon says you could do yibum li either one, and you do chalitza on the second one. Why would Rabbi Shimon hold you could do yibum with either one? Because Rabbi Shimon disagrees seemingly with the halacha that misha yesh aleh zikas yavam echad v'lo shaleh zikas shnei yavamin. He would hold that you could still do yibum even if somebody has 2 zikas. So if you can do yibum with 2 zikas, then you can do yibum in the case of the Mishnah before, and you could definitely do yibum here. And now the Gemara the Mishnah gives a separate case, and we have a few more minutes. Echad shehu ben teshanim v'yomechad, a 9-year-old. When we talk about a 9-year-old, there's the same thing. Ve'echad shehu ben esrim shelo hevi shtei cyrus. If you have a 20-year-old who's immature, and not immature like we would say our kids are immature. If you have a 20-year-old who's immature, he doesn't have 2 cyrus, that for halachic purposes is considered to be the same as a 9-year-old for all intents and purposes. Amarava. Now we're just going to say inside everything that I said outside. Amarava. Hadam Rabbanan Zika Shnei Yavamin Michlatz Chaltzi Vumelo Miyavma. When the rabbi said originally that in the case where the Yavama dies, where he marries the Yavama and then he dies, so they have to do Chalitza because it's Zika Shnei Yavamin, and the rabbi says Zika Shnei Yavamin is Michlatz Chaltzi Vumelo Miyavma. Lo Tema Hechad Ikat Sarah. Again, this is based on the Gemara before, so I'm not going to get too much into it. Don't say that's only when there's a tzara de'ikal lemigza mishum tzara de'hahacha leka tzara michlatz chaltza yivumei lo miyavma. I was saying in general, that rule is across the board, whether there's another wife or not, whether there's a tzara or not. If there's a 9-year-old and there's no other wives, and there's just a 9-year-old and he marries this woman, and then he goes ahead and he dies, so since this woman now has a zika to the first husband and a zika to this husband, even though this zika is a weaker zika, at the end of the day we say that you can't do yibum because again there's 2 zikas, at least according to the Tanakh. Rabbi Shimon would argue and say you could still do yibum even with 2 zikas. Nasa Esha Vameis Zal. If a 9-year-old marries a woman and dies, then there's no yibum and no chalitza because they're not married for all intents and purposes. Midaraisa taninu hu d'tana rabbanan. It's the same thing as a shota v'katan shenasu v'meitu. Nishoteim peturos min chalitza min yibum. Just like if a shota gets married, if a katan gets married, if a 9-year-old gets married, it's nothing. And in terms of the Torah, they're not married, and therefore there's no yibum and no chalitza. Ben, we're going to run through this part a little bit quickly. Ben Tesha, just the next few lines, and then we'll finish with a story. Ben Tesha, Misha Higdil, V'yasu bias ben tes k'ma'amar begadol, v'tilchet zar mi'ibum. So this is the question that I raised in the Mishnah. Why don't we consider the bia of the 9-year-old to be like ma'amar? And again, since we said it's strong enough to create a second zika where you want to tell us that now they can't do yibum with this wife because she has 2 zikas, v'tilchet zar mi'ibum. So why in the case where he married somebody else when he got older, so why do you not do anything with this woman? You can't do anything with this woman that he married as a 9-year-old, and because she has 2 zikas. But Lamaisa, why is it Sarah? Why is the one that he married when he was older? Why is that one not exempt when you do the chalitza with the one that you married while you were 9? So the Gemara says, Amarav lo asu bia as bentes k'ma'amar begadol, because the bia of a bentes is not like the ma'amar of a gadol, and therefore it doesn't have the same status. And again, it has this quasi status where it works for one and not like the other. Ushmuel amar asu vasu, and Shmuel says no, the ma'amar is a real ma'amar. So then you have the kasha, why isn't he pater? V'chein amar Yochanan asu vasu v'yasu. So the ma'aseh it should be pater this woman. Tanai it's a machlokas tanaim. Hachtan dabar achin gazam mishum tzara v'ashmina begadol v'hu adim mekatan. V'ayda amar gadol mishum de begadol kai. V'aytana dehacha desfira leid asu v'logaz mishum tzara v'ashmina bekatan v'hu adim begadol v'hu v'hayde kamar bekatan de bekatan kai. Again, I read it quickly, but this is all based on a long thing that is based on the Gemara in Lamed Aleph Amad Beis. But the ma'aseh comes out again that according to the Tanakama, you go ahead and you do yibum or chalitza. You go ahead and you have to do chalitza with this one that you were married to at 9, but you can still go ahead and do yibum or chalitza with the one that you married when you were older. Azar Rabbi Lazar, let's just end with a story. Amar Rabbi Lazar, Amar l'shmaita be midrasha. Rabbi Lazar said over this shmaita be midrasha, and for our purposes I'll give away just so that you can follow the story a little better. Rabbi Lazar is the student of Rabbi Yochanan. So Rabbi Lazar, Rabbi Yochanan's student, went ahead and said this idea of Rabbi Yochanan, asu va'asu, about, again, it doesn't matter for our purposes for the story. He quoted Rabbi Yochanan in the base medrash, but he didn't quote Rabbi Yochanan's name. So Shama Rabbi Yochanan Ikbid. So very interesting. We'll see why he got upset. Rabbi Yochanan got very upset that his student was quoting something from his name without mentioning his name. And it's not that he didn't agree with what the guy said. He agreed, and he agreed that he said what he said. He was upset that the guy didn't quote him his name and give him credit. Ola gabe Ravami v'Ravasi. So Ravami v'Ravasi went up to Rabbi Yochanan to appease him. Don't get upset at your student, because on Maisa we have a Maisa that happened in Tiberia where people fought, like you're fighting now. There was a case where there was a bolt that had a very thick head and it was used to crush spices, and the question was, there was a machlokas if you can use that to go ahead and hold open a door, wedge the door on Shabbos, and there was a machlokas at Shekar Sefer Torah bechamas, and it got so out of hand that they ripped the Sefer Torah out of their anger. Gemara says, whoa, karu salkadaitach? Do you think that somebody actually went ahead and said, I can't take this and ripped the Sefer Torah? No, they were fighting so much. The Sefer Torah was ripped bechamasan. V'hayasham Rabbi Yossi ben Kizma, Rabbi Yossi ben Kizma was there when the Sefer Torah was ripped. Amar, and he said, he said, because of this fight where the Sefer Torah was ripped, I wouldn't be shocked if this Beis Knesset turns into an avodas kachavim, turns into a church, and turns into a mosque. V'chein hava. But the Ma'aseh, what were they saying to him? They said, Rabbi Yochanan, you got to calm down. We have this story over there, and it's interesting that they brought this story. They could have brought hundreds of stories. They could have said that the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed because of sinas chinam. Said to Rabbi Yochanan, chill out, take a chill pill, don't go ahead and get upset at your student, because Lamaisa, nothing good happens when there are fights and when there are arguments, so give the guy a pass. Hader ikbit fei. So we know the Gemara always says, don't try to go ahead and appease somebody when they're angry. He got even angrier at them. Why did he get even angry at them? Because he said it's following. Amar Chavru Sanam, he said, you can't bring me proofs from that case, because in that case they were friends. So friends are allowed to argue. Yes, they shouldn't have gone to the point where they ripped the Sefer Torah, but when friends argue, that's okay. But my guy, what's the story over here? He's my Talmud. The Talmud has no right to argue on me, i.e. the Talmud has no right to say things that are not in my name. Very interesting. So he was very upset. So comes along Ola Gabe Rav Yaakov Bar Idi, and he appeases Rabbi Yochanan. How does he appease him? With something beautiful. Amar Lei. The pasuk says, "Kasher tziva Hashem es Moshe avdo, kein tziva Moshe es Yoshua." Whatever Hashem commanded Moshe, Moshe commanded Yoshua. V'chein asel Yehoshua, and that's what Yoshua did. Lo hisir davar mikol asher tziva Hashem es Moshe. Yoshua did everything that Moshe commanded him, which Hashem had commanded Moshe. V'chi al kol davar she'amar Yoshua Omer lahem kach amar li Moshe. You think every time Yoshua taught something to Bnei Yisrael, he said to them, "This is what Moshe told me from the mouth of Hashem"? No, it was obvious that every time Yoshua would say something, it was something that he would learn from Moshe Rabbeinu. Eli Yoshua Yoshe v'dorei stam. He would say halachas. V'akol yodin shetoratza shel Moshe. Everybody knew that who taught it to Moshe. Afer belazar talmidecha Yoshe v'dorei stam v'akol yodin kishalchahi. Don't get so upset that he's quoting things not in your name. When he quotes things, anything he quotes, everybody knows that it's in your name, that it's attributed to you by definition, just like everything that Yoshua said was attributed to Moshe Rabbeinu by definition. Amar lahem. He said to them, why don't you guys not appease me like Benidi was able to appease me? And he said something that makes sense, and therefore I am not upset anymore at Rabbi Elazar. For Rabbi Yochanan, my time a cup of kulei. Rabbi Yochanan was a great man. Why is he getting so upset that his student, even his student, for sure his student, why is he getting so upset that his student's not quoting him? The famous idea that we've heard before, even though it's quoted numerous times in Shas. What does David HaMelech say when he says to God, I'm going to live in your tent for two worlds? How can you live in this world and the next world? Yehi ratzon sheyomru dvar shmua mipi be'olam hazeh. Yehi ratzon, that I should be able to live in both worlds, i.e., that when I die, they quote me in this world. To Amar Rabbi Yochanan Mishum Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai, Kol Tam Chacham she'omer davar shmua mipiv be'olam hazeh, siftotav dovelo bakever. That if they say anything in your name when you pass away, so it's Ke'ilu, you're talking in the kever. Now it's interesting because it comes out basically that Rabbi Yochanan felt that this was, either he felt that this was important even in this world, that somehow when somebody quotes something in this world, it works even for after you die, because again, he's alive now. So maybe he thinks that it works even after you die. Or one can I think that Rabbi Yochanan was just trying to train a student. He figured that if he didn't say something now, so then Lamaisa, after 120 years, when he dies, so Rabbi Elazar needs to get in the hang of quoting Rabbi Yochanan. So again, it's not that he's holding that he needs to be quoted now because now his mouth moving, he's still alive. But either we're saying that the Zechus you're going to get from being quoted now will work even after you die, or maybe more likely, it's the fact that Rabbi Yochanan is trying to train a student, and he's upset because he wants to train a student that after he dies, so then he should still quote the name of Rabbi Yochanan. But that's why Rabbi Yochanan got so upset, because Rabbi Yochanan wants his chus in Olam Haba. He wants to be quoted so that in Olam Haba, Lamaisa, he will be moving, he will be talking bekever kiviyachol even when he dies. Amar Rav Yitzchak ben Zira v'Yitemer Shimon Nizira. Ma'ikra, there's a similar pasuk. V'chikech kiyayin atov. Holech ledode meishar ledodi lemeshim dovev sfasai yishenim. That the words of your mouth move like the words of those, the lips of those sleeping, like a pile of grapes. Just like when you put your etzba on the pile of grapes, it starts to flow. So too, when Talmidei Chachamim, something is quoted in their name in Olam Hazeh, so when they're in the kever, so their mouths kiviyachol are able to move as well. Shkayach everyone.